Do not install RCI rock sliders on your second gen Toyota Tacoma without watching this video first. We're going to save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and a lot of frustration. What's supposed to be just a few bolts that you just mount on your sliders to your frame is not exactly that straightforward. And the directions didn't help with this, didn't talk about this. Let's get into it. So as we're installing our rock slider to the frame, it didn't marry true. It actually just kind of like left a little space near the front of the slider, which is not good. What happens there is your bolt, so you know the metal is gonna expand if it gets hot and all this stuff. So as the metal starts to move around and as it starts bending more, the tension on the bolt gets weaker, and then bouncing off the rocks or in between the rocks, you start getting this kind of shearing force. The bolt force is strongest in this direction, so you need the frame to marry true to the slider, okay? This took us 6 extra hours to figure out because we were going through the instructions, we were going through all the parts. Did we misplace something? How come things aren't lining up? Please heed this advice. I do not want installing these sliders to be a nightmare for you because installing these parts are usually pretty straightforward and very enjoyable. And we don't want to just bolt on as is because that's just going to compromise your peace of mind while you're out there on the rock, especially if you're carrying a lot of load on the front half of your truck. So initially, to fix this problem, what we tried to do is find these big washers, and that was a big compromise. That is not the answer. And we were pretty... well, I was anyways. I was pretty upset with the way what we got. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. So we went through the headache of installing these rock sliders and using washers, which were very subpar. We didn't want to compromise the integrity of the front end of the rock sliders. So we were, I was pretty upset about that. But 2 weeks after we received the rock sliders, which is 1 week after we installed the rock sliders, we received a mysterious package. Didn't come with any type of RCI logo on it, no instructions, nothing like that. But we knew exactly what they were when they arrived. I wish RCI would have called us, sent us an email, or reached us somehow to let us know that this part was coming separate from the actual sliders, because the sliders already came with all the nuts and bolts and washers and all that. Since we already had installed the rock slider, it was very unnerving because this is the hardest part of the whole install. So the fact that this is where they dropped the ball really rubbed me the wrong way. So this part, you have to stick your arm inside of the frame of the Tacoma, and there's a lot of goop protecting the inner frame. So you get a little bit slimed up. It's really hard to get all that off, first of all, and it puts your arm at a weird position. So you got a lot of pressure points in there while you're trying to hold the wrench to hold the bolt and get the ratchet on the other side. So it's the hardest part of the install, hands down. And now we had to redo it, but we had the right part this time at least. But we had to redo that, and that is not something we were happy about at all. That cost us about 6 extra hours on the install. 6 extra hours. I mean, and a whole nother day to plan it. So, yeah, RCI. I just bought some other products from you, and I'm happy, but you really dropped the ball on this one. So for all you guys watching this video, I want you to remember that piece of advice is this piece that's a rectangle looking spacer. I don't know what they call it, but you're gonna wanna have that before you try to install your rock sliders. Or you're gonna spend a lot of time looking at the directions, making phone calls, visiting stores, and Googling and all that stuff. Man, you're gonna just waste a ton of time on something that is actually pretty straightforward. I do wish they color matched it. We got the powder coat. I wish they powder coated that as well. I don't remember if it was steel or aluminum, but I really wish that they would have done something to try and color match that for us too. Because when you order it, there's nothing saying, hey, would you like us to powder coat it? Or, hey, this powder coating doesn't include, this spacer. It's not a big eyesore, not a big deal. But when you're going with quality products, you kind of expect quality customer service, quality planning, and the whole bit. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, maybe even a subscribe, and we will see you out there on the trails.